Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the welcome session of the Headway mentoring program, the second cohort. We've worked on it, the team and I have worked on it for quite some time to ensure that this new one, this updated version we've been calling it, is able to deliver on improving the quality of life and the professional capacity of young planners and planning students across the Commonwealth. We have rephrased this mentoring program to ensure that it also captures the capacity needs of mentors and of mentees as well. And we've decided to open it up to anyone to be able to participate at our monthly sessions. So this welcome session is basically to introduce the mentees and the mentors to what the program is about, and also to empower the mentees and the mentors on how they go ahead in the remaining months in building their relationships with their mentees and mentees with their mentors, and also to know how to maximize this opportunity. We'll have the different planning institutes participating in this cohort of this mentoring session. This session today, we have several of our institutes who are participating from the Planning Institute of Australia, South African Council, Malaysian Institute of Planning. We also have the Bangladesh Institute of Planners, as well as the Royal Town Planning Institute, that will be delivering a practical session for us on mentoring and the professional development plan of the Institute, and would also be giving us information on how to maximize this plan for the mentoring program. I must say that having this professional development plan is very critical to the mentoring program. We have decided that it's good for the mentees to have a plan ahead of time and to know what is achievable with their mentors, and to also know what they can work on going further, even after the mentoring program ends. That's all from my side. I will introduce the opening, the keynote speaker, who is the president of the Commonwealth Association of Planners, Professor Ua Silas.
Thank you very much, Olivia, and good morning and good afternoon, and everybody on the screen. It's late evening where I am, but I know a lot of you it's early morning. It's great to be connected all across the globe, and it's such a pleasure to be here to discuss a topic that shapes futures, and that is mentoring. Oprah Winfrey, I'm sure you all know of. She's a woman known for her wisdom and her impact. She once said, "A mentor is someone who allows you to see the hope inside yourself." And this beautifully captures the essence of what a mentor does. So a mentor does not simply guide or advise. They really help us to see our strengths and the potential that we might sometimes struggle to see in ourselves. So a mentor challenge us and they nurture us and they believe in us, often before we believe in ourselves. And it's such a value of having such a person in our lives. It's somebody that pushes us beyond our limits and encourage us to see greater possibilities. The other thing is the power and the impact of mentoring is not only evident in personal growth, but we strongly believe that it's also a way to shape our communities. And through mentoring, CAP really believes that this is how we can build sustainable cities and regions. So thank you for joining us in this important conversation. Thank you for the mentors that stepped up and raised to the occasion to say, I'm willing to lead and to mentor. And to all the mentees that signed up, you are part of a very privileged group to be mentored by some of the great experts across the globe. So from my side, just really a big thank you to all our planning friends and our experts for making this program a success. To Olivia and the team, You are doing remarkable work, and this is a one-of-a-kind program, but we can't do it without the help and the support of everybody that is on this screen and on this call. So on behalf of CAP, thank you very, very much. We look forward to hear about all the good stories and hear about the progress, and really look forward to get to know you all better. And most importantly, we want to see how this transform our cities and our regions to be more sustainable through the mentoring program and through learning from each other. So I'm going to give you back into the capable hands of the event organizers, and we look forward to hear of all the experts joining us with their presentations today. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you very much, Professor. Our next speaker is Nick Ruiz. He will be delivering the opening remarks. Nick Ruiz is from the Malaysian Institute of Planners. Nick, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Elephant. Hi, everyone. When it comes to CAP, my usual greetings would be good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and followed by greetings. So allow me to introduce myself. My name is Ruiz, Nick. Nick is my family name, but I know there's confusions amongst Malaysians. They prefer to call me Nick because they think that I'm a mafia. But jokes aside, I'll give a short and brief take on this. And I'll continue where our president left off, Jua. Basically, the idea of this will help all of us, not just the mentee, but the mentor as well. I would say that as a town planner, being around for almost, or rather 50 years, you just need, at work, you just need someone to talk to share, or rather to compare notes. So take it from those perspectives. No doubt, we may come from different background. We may come from Asia, Europe, Africa, Australasia, the Pacific, and what have you. But by comparing that makes us a better profession. And that is what planning is all about. It is not to compete, it is to share knowledge, and that's how we move forward. And of course, the idea of, the big hoo-ha right now, SDG, ESG, or low carbon, or rather net zero carbon commitments, the ideas of such can be implemented much easier as we, as planners, can compare notes and create something better or plan something better out of it. My final remark here would be, again, we work as a team, we have to share notes. And the reason why I'm here, I'll be more than happy to have a chit chat with any of you. And I'm sure our president, Jua Olifin, would be more than happy to do the same as well. Back to you, my wonderful Olifin from the UK. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ruiz, and thank you very much for the opening remark. We really appreciate your presence. Thank you. Our next speaker is Professor O. Mugudimisha. Apologies, I really practiced it and I hope I got it right. Mugudimisha is our next speaker. Professor O is from the South Africa Council of Planners, and she will be delivering a session on how to maximize mentorship. Professor, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, colleagues. I hope I'm visible. You can hear me. I'm just a little bit bothered. I seem to be catching all over, but I hope this will be okay. But can you hear me though?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So you've been practicing my names for so many years now. I don't know whether you will get it right again, but it's fine. I also don't know how to pronounce your surname, so I can forgive you. I wanted to share just 3 slides. Is that okay? because I'm trying to, it says I'm denied access.
And please try, you should be able to share.
Yeah, it says access denied. Okay, I'll just talk. Okay, I can just talk. It's fine if it's not allowing me to share. It's not a problem. I'll talk from outside the computer. So let me just do this. Apologies, everyone. I had prepared slides, but okay, I will talk from my presentation. Okay. You still cannot see the presentation, right?
Cannot. No, we cannot. Is it?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can try it now again. I think it should work.
Okay, I just have a few slides. Let me try again. My share option has been taken away from me. But it's fine. Let me just present from here. It's just 3 slides. It's fine. Can I just present from here? It's fine.
That's fine. Yes, please.
Yeah, okay. So good morning, colleagues. And I'm obviously coming from South Africa. And I know the president of CAP, she is in Australia somewhere going towards morning, but not yet. So she's somewhere in the midnight, somewhere there. I'm connecting from South Africa, Durban to be specific. And I'm very grateful to be here, to be invited to be part of this event, and grateful for the organizers. And of course, it's such a interesting thing to also connect with other colleagues from other council or institution of planning. So that's where I want to start. So I needed to shed my 3 slides. And I wanted to start the first slide, which I have in front of me here. I don't mind sharing it at a later stage if that is necessary, but it was just to say why mentors. So, and then I will be very brief to say, we all agree that mentorship is important, and maybe that's why we all have taken time to be here. And from a research point of view, about 75% of people do agree that actually mentorship is important, and we need to have mentors in our lives. But what is very fascinating is that despite that statistics, about 36% of people have mentors. So now you have so many people who believe that they need mentors, but you only have 36% of people who have mentors. Then that begin to tell us a story there to say what's really going on if we all believe that mentors are critical. And myself, I think I'm part of the 75% which believe that is critical. Now, there are a number of reasons that could be the case. One is that most people do not know how to get mentors. So then I think this is where the CAP come in, where they organize this program so that we can have access to mentors. So I think now in this platform, our question and our concern is not around whether we can get mentors or not. That has been worked around. But the next bigger question is what do you do once you have a mentor, and how do you make sure that that mentorship is fruitful, is meaningful, is leading you towards the next direction? Now, and there are a number of things here which we need to do. And I will just pick up some of the issues. And this is not just to say this is a gospel, a Bible, we should stick by this. But I'm going to say upfront to say mentorship is a two-way street. So it's not just a mentor being responsible for mentee or the other way around. Both mentor and mentee, they have a role to play. They need to be hands-on. Now, if any of them, be a mentor or mentee, if you feel you don't have time to be mentored or to mentor a person, you might as well consider not doing this, because it requires time and it requires a hands-on approach. It requires a lot of commitment, a lot of sacrifice from both parties. right? So it's not a question of whether you will have time. You have to make time for it to make sure that it works. So it is a commitment that you need to do. But very key to this is that you need to very early on establish the areas of interest. Now, obviously here, by virtue of being this platform coming from different countries and being planners from different parts of the globe, we already established our interest. But here, interest goes beyond just the professional interest that we're talking about, because you want to start connecting also at a personal level. Here, I'm not talking personal as like what's going on in your household and all that, but you want to know what your mentor or mentee is interested in terms of the sports, in terms of whether I know Professor the president, she likes running, right? So she got everyone to run, the whole family. So now, so you want to understand your mentor from that perspective, what they like. The reason why you want to do that is also another way to kind of to strengthen your relationship, because you are not just going to meet every time you're talking about work, but you also need to find areas of your interest, and that on its own, it brings closer together. But you won't find areas of interest if you are not engaging, right? So the area of interest may not be directly linked to this person, but could be something that maybe someone in the family they're interested in. Therefore, by virtue of having a family member interested on that, then they've got knowledge and they're more interested. So you need to want to connect at that level. If you cannot connect on that level, it makes the relationship towards just focusing on the content, and sometimes it becomes very difficult because you want to engage. Then the other thing, you also want to be willing to learn from one another, right? So it's not just a question of I always say this also to my students, that I do not believe that you guys are an empty box where you are waiting for someone to fill things inside, but rather you are someone who already have a knowledge, and we're going to work with what you have and using my own expertise, my experience, to make sure that we strengthen that. So you want to learn from one another. Even the mentor themselves in the process, they'll be learning quite a few things, or even more things from a mentee based on how you engage. So you want to make sure that this is a two-way street, and this benefit both sides. So you will learn and how you engage, the different contexts, different issues that people are experiencing, and in the process, you strengthen that relationship. Now, you want to also make sure that you try to connect, as indicated, you have to connect in a personal level, but also make sure that when you are doing all this in the process, obviously, I think the chair of this session indicated earlier on that she said, you need to have a plan, right? So obviously your plan must have milestones and must have time to review. So the question is, how far have you gone? This is the question you're supposed to be asking yourself since the time this program started. And have you reviewed, and the review should therefore direct us to whether we need to put more effort, or whether we're not doing very well, or where we are doing very well, and how do we progress. Now, a plan which does not have a stop and reflect point, then it becomes problematic. So the question is, do we have that since this program started, and how often have you been in touch? Like now, this is a personal initiative. Now, I did mention the issue of time earlier on, that you need to have time and a lot of time. Now, you also need to be seen in action. This is very key for mentorship and of course for mentor and mentee. And I will explain what this means. So if you're a mentor of someone and you are mentoring them, I'm making an example to be the great speaker or the great writer or whatever the ambitions are, or they want to be the best urban planner, coming up with the very innovative ideas, and the list go on based on whatever they set their goals in. You want to see them in action, and they have to see you as the mentor in action. So in other words, both of you must see each other in action. Now, why this is important? This is important because it gives one time to review and reflect and give each other comments based on what you're seeing. Now, I'll give you a quick example. Is that I was approached sometimes 2 years back by someone who was a gap lecturer in our university, in other faculty, and says to me, my plan is that I want to improve my teaching portfolio and profile, and I seem to have problem when I'm teaching. I don't feel I'm more confident the way I'm organizing my work, and the list go on. So we met, we said, okay, we're going to do this. So, but the way we're going to do it, we're going to do it in 2 ways, right? So we put down goals, what we want to achieve, the throughput you want to achieve, the pass rate, everything. And then you will come to my class and see me teaching her and see how I teach. After the class, I ask her, yeah, Dan, can you give me the reviews? Just review my teaching. What did you see? What did you learn? What do you think we should remove? What should we add? And she gave me, the first time obviously was very hard for her to criticize, but I said, but this is what you need to do. Then the next time when she was teaching, I said, now it's my turn. I want to come and be an assessor in your class. So I will just be sitting there, watching you doing whatever you're doing. I'm not saying anything. Then after that, I give you the review. Then we work around. So we are seeing each other in action. Then after that, we had some coffee and discuss and said, this is what happened. How did you get your lecture ready? How are you handling students? Because she had quite a few mature students she was struggling to handle. How do you deal with that? Then that person, the plan was that she wants to be promoted into a senior lecturer, and this was about 3 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, 3 or 4 years. Now she is reaching her goal. Then she wants to go to the next level. Now, why am I giving this example? I want to indicate that you need to invite each other into action. Now, I understand that you are not going to be in one place because we are all in different places, but what's going to happen is that if there's events like this and someone is a mentor, you can, or mentee, you can invite them. So please, can you join me on this event so that you can see how we do things there? Can I join you on this event so I can see how you do things that other side? So you ought to be seen in action. So that is more motivational in its own. Now, then the other part of it is that your plan has to, we did talk about the plan, but the plan has to have start and end. But when you say start and end, does not mean that you close the book, right? So the plan will have what we want to do and where we want to go, but that plan has to have start and end. Then when it ends, then you have to kind of join and continue depending on how far you want to go. So you want to look at a long-term plan, and the long plan should actually lead you towards being independent at some point. At one point, I'm going to be more of an observer than a mentor, right? So I will, at what point that will get there. So that plan needs to have a long term. Then also have to have an interim or short term based on the program to say, for this program, this is what we want to work on. But what happens after that? That is important. But this is my last point I want to make, to say, we need to be able to encourage one another. You cannot be a mentor, and here I'm talking directly to mentors, who cannot actually encourage. You see, when you are being mentored or you're at a position of mentor, you will realize that if you, I'm giving an example here, if you have a mentee who you can see that this is not their strongest point, and I like what the president said earlier on, to say, a mentor needs to identify you, help you to identify your strength. So you need to be able to encourage them towards the right direction. When things, after you've identified their strength, you need to encourage them, because very often they may not know that they've got those strengths, and they may need an encouragement to make sure that they pull out. So you need to bring the best out of people as a mentor, and the mentee, you must be willing to be pushed to the end. But I must close by saying that please do not confuse role models and mentors. We can talk about this next time, because it can be a section on its own. Thank you so much. Over to you, Chair. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Professor O. Thank you. This has really been a good one. Thank you. We'll go to the next speaker, who is the representative from the Bangladesh Institute of Planners, Fazil Reza Sumon. I hope I tried with that as well. Fazil, over to you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all the participants all over the world. And thank you very much, Qualified, for arranging this mentorship program. And Professor Majid Dimisa might beautifully illustrate the opportunity of mentorship and the relation of mentors and mentees. First, I'd like to introduce myself. I am first planner for Shumon. I am practicing planner, working in Dhaka, Bangladesh. Presently, I am working as a team leader of one urban regeneration project implemented by Capital Development Authority of Dhaka, Raju, Bangladesh, and which is implemented by Technical Cooperation of German Technical Institute GIZ and with assistance of Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. I like to introduce this one because actually why mentoring? Mentoring can provide encouragement, help knowledge sharing, and the best thing is networking opportunities among. And now in this platform, I think more than 31 planners are here, and it's a very good opportunity to introduce the young planners here. And mainly mentoring is the advice or direction or motivation, innovation, training, etc. to mentees. But I like to share my country scenario as I think out of 31, one or two or three are from third world countries, especially Bangladesh or Pakistan. And the scenario of Bangladesh and Pakistan is most similar and is quite different from other world in the eyes of our planning community. Actually, we all know that we are from this Bangladesh, Pakistan, India is from third world country, but now is developing a lot. And actually, the planning practices in this country, especially in Bangladesh, is came to bring to attention to the policymakers after 2000 because and also economic challenge is a very big phenomena in these countries, and even in Bangladesh the per capita income was less than 1000 USD before 2000, and it's dramatically increased from 2000 to 2024. And now, in the last 10 years, it's a planning practices, especially physical practices, are being place in our country. And though still there is no countrywide land use plan and other things, but this is a very good opportunity to work for the planners in this country because the lack of planning documents and other things in there, and only a few institutes are providing the planning degrees in Bangladesh. So it's a very open field so far, according to our planners for Bangladesh, and because of a lack of opportunity, most of the planners still there are around more than 2000 planners graduated from different universities from Bangladesh, but 70% of our planners are working in different countries of the world. Only a few are left. I like explain this one because Bangladesh, especially Dhaka and other metropolitan cities, faces so many multitude of challenges which are not facing in other countries like UK, Canada, US, and like this. So there is a lot of challenges like urbanization, overpopulation, climate, environmental degradation, and other issues. So it was not possible for our young planners to get more ideas from the overseas countries or overseas planners. But young planning network might be a good opportunity to meet so many mentors, international mentors, to get more idea about so many planning issues as they are the spokesman as to provide the proposition for the country even to enhance the quality of life. And as a planner, only a few practicing planners are working in Bangladesh. It's not more than 200 or 300 still in Dhaka. I served last 2 years as the president of Bangladesh Institute of Planners, And still, we have to fight a lot with our governments and policy makers to establish our position and our profession in Bangladesh, as only 100 and something planners are working in government sector in Bangladesh. Informal sectors and others are more in Dhaka, and so many international agencies like USA, GIZ, so many international agencies are working in this sector. And here the mentees and the young planners are here to you can get a lot of ideas and it's a good opportunity to make research in Dhaka and the other metropolitan city. And you might astonish to hear that in Dhaka around 45,000 population per square kilometer in Dhaka, even in other metropolitan city, where in London around 5,000, even in big cities is only 1,000 to 2,000 population. So it's I think our young planners maybe yesterday I invited some to join here, and they might have good opportunity to learn from other mentors from here and to make a good networking opportunity with the other planners of maybe Europe or other countries. And I think a mentorship between mentors and mentees is a good opportunity to learn about our how we can integrate the climate resilience in urban planning processes, how to make some building resilience issues which are newer to our country, how to make our more energy efficient planning issues and planning practices in our working arena. And even in Bangladesh, we are facing some climate change issues, especially flood and water logging. We like to know some good practices and examples from other countries. So I think mentorship is a very important for our young planners. And I hope by this if this type of event can help our young planners to learn from each other, for sharing our knowledge through networking others, and we can trust ourselves that we can do something for our city as well as for the for better quality of life for our residents and citizens, and we can get several we can get several examples from other cities that we can apply, and we can learn, and we can contribute for our country. So thank you very much for the event organizer, especially Olafine. She's working hard for the young planners, and we met in several events last year in Canada and in Malaysia. And I appreciate, and I discussed with my institute member about the young planners motivation. But in our countries, the young planners, we should more motivated, because most of the planners are changing their profession to other profession because of lack of opportunity in our country. But as a senior planner, we have tried. And thank you. We like to invite our members and planners in such events, and I am happy to contribute with that. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Bye for now.
Thank you very much, Professor. Thank you. Before we go to the next one, I think it's very important to really highlight some of the key points from what we have heard today. We heard from the president. She stated the importance of the mentoring program, and also that the aim of the mentoring program goes beyond just the professional development and career progression, but also to practically impacting our local context, our communities, and making global contribution. We heard from Ruiz from the Malaysian Institute of Planners about the importance of really engaging across countries, and also the importance of maximizing the mentoring opportunities and the role, the critical role that it plays in career progression. We also heard from Professor O about a very practical session about for mentees in particular, and also mentors can learn on how to really maximize mentoring opportunities. She highlighted to the example of having of a mentee learning from her practically. And I must say that's something that is really an experience that we've had from the first mentoring program that we had. It's something that's common across the Commonwealth. Planners that they're very committed to ensuring that others have the opportunity to practically learn from them. And now we've just heard from Fazuriza, someone about the importance of learning from other countries as well and maximizing the opportunities to develop the local context, and also the need to establish the position of planning and through maximizing mentoring opportunities and learning, networking and learning how to make changes in government, practical changes in government, and to improve the opportunities available for planners. Now we're going to another practical session from our member institute. We have a report from the first session, is from the first cohort, is the need for us to really ensure that we maximize the opportunities from our member institutes. And we have decided, given that, like Professor Ope alluded to, the importance of having a plan, and having a plan that you can monitor, having a plan that you can review and revise, and that you can strengthen. So we have the Royal Town Planning Institute today, who will be delivering using their template of their professional development plan for the mentees to use to develop their professional development plan. I believe the link to this plan will be provided, but we've also shared with the mentees for the program. I will introduce Judith Taylor, Dr. Judith Taylor, Kimi Walker, as well as Martini, to present on professional development plan and the importance of it to mentoring. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Madam President, esteemed colleagues, good morning. This is London calling. I'm very happy to be able to bring you greetings from the United Kingdom and the Royal Town Planning Institute. My name is Judith Taylor, and I have the privilege of being Head of Education at the Royal Town Planning Institute. Thank you so much for this invitation to be able to speak to you all this morning, speak to you all scattered across the globe. What we're going to do in the next 30 minutes or so is a sort of double act, as it were. Well, it's really a triple act. My lovely colleague, Kimi Walker, and I will speak about the RTPI's approach to CPD and professional development plans. So that's continuous professional development and professional development plan, or PDP for short. Then we will pass to our head of membership, Martine Koch, who will link that more overtly to mentoring, which is obviously what you are all here to hear about today. Now, full disclosure, I am not a planner. Martine is not a planner. Kimi is a chartered town planner, and it's really great that she is here with us today because she can speak authentically about all of this. What we do share, I guess, is a passion for supporting planners and supporting people who are in this world-changing profession. So it's really a privilege to be here with you today. So you will hear from me first. You'll have to put up with me for a little bit longer. I'll speak a little bit about CPD and professional development plans, why have them, what could potentially count for you as CPD, And then Kimmy will speak about how you can get the most out of your professional development plans, your PDPs. So it's very much, Kimmy and I will look at the why, the what, and the how. So just to start us off then, a little bit of background about CPD and PDPs and what they are. So some bullet points on the slide and a definition of what CPD is. For the RTPI, carrying out CPD is a requirement under our Code of Professional Conduct. It says there in the slide it's about lifelong learning. It's certainly about career-long learning. Undertaking CPD, it ensures that your knowledge and experience are current and up to date and at a high level. And the requirement to undertake CPD is really what sets chartered town planners apart. It shows your commitment to your profession, to employers and the public. It shows you're staying at the top of your game. It ensures that you are equipped with the knowledge and skills that you need for your job today, but also for your job tomorrow and moving forward into the future. So it is about the here and now, but it's also about that longer term game about where you and where the profession are actually going. So the two things go hand in hand, CPD and PDPs. The PDP, your professional development plan, should steer the CPD that you undertake. So the PDP is really the foundation. Once you've prepared your PDP, you need to ensure that it allows you to undertake the CPD that you require. I just wanted briefly to touch on what the RTPI requires and offers, appreciating that not everybody on the call is going to be a member of the RTPI, but just so that you're aware, RTPI members need to undertake 50 hours of CPD in a 2-year period, and that, although my maths isn't terrific, equates roughly to around 30 minutes a week. It's required of all RTPI members, apart from certain categories like affiliate membership, retired membership, student membership. They aren't required to undertake CPD. And one further thing just to note as a sort of benefit that we offer our members, we do now have an online log for CPD, so members can log into their profile within our website and log the CPD they've undertaken, number of hours, and crucially really reflect upon it. That idea of being a reflexive practitioner is really crucial to being a chartered town planner. And all that makes life easier really for you. It saves you having to log your CPD in a separate document and have to upload it somewhere else. So that's all to the good. This is my last slide, you'll be pleased to hear, and then I'll move on and cede the floor to Kimmy. So what's considered as CPD? You probably know all this already. So it's things like attending events, conferences, a CAP session on mentoring, for example. Could be online learning, perhaps a webinar on a legal update in your country, a conference, something you've seen that's planning related on YouTube. It could be something as apparently simple as sitting down and reading an article on planning, or looking at the appeal decisions within the Planner magazine, or looking at planning theory and research and the academic papers in that. It could be volunteering that you're doing as a planner. That'll look different for different people, obviously, in different countries. And it could end up being mentoring and coaching. Now, you are mentees, many of you at the moment, but you could go on to become mentors yourselves. And I'd really strongly encourage you to consider that. And that's just a quick summary of what it could involve. It could also include on-the-job training, but it shouldn't be about actually the doing of your job. There are many low-cost, free CPD activities through the RTPI, through our sister institutes, SACPLAN and PIA and others. If you do have any questions about CPD, particularly with regard to the RTPI and what is offered, please do drop us a line. We're always really happy to hear from you, and there'll be contact details at the end of the slides. So CPD is one side of the coin, and the professional development plan, the PDP, is the other side of the coin. And again, just to recap, CPD is driven at the RTPI by the PDP. So you do the PDP first. Kimmy, if you could put your camera on and join me now, how do you get the most out of your PDP?
Thanks, Jude, and hi, everybody. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about your personal development plans now. And as the pretty colours, sorry, Jude, if you could skip back one slide. That's it, lovely, thank you very much. As the pretty colours on the right-hand side say, your PDP should be SMART. That's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based. And I'm going to go into that in a little bit more detail. But your professional development plan is really all about your personal development. And at the RTPI, our PDPs cover a 2-year period, but you should review that annually. You shouldn't just write it and then for 2 years not look at it again. You should be constantly looking at it to make sure you're on track. And if anything has changed, for example, you might have a new job position with your current employer, or you may change your working environment and move to a different employer, then you may need to update your PDP. So it's always worth having a good look at it every few months. So the whole purpose of the PDP is to prepare goals and objectives using your SWOT analysis, as we call it, which is your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And that will shape your learning and your skill development, because it allows you to determine what are your weaknesses and what are the opportunities that you've got to actually strengthen those weaknesses. That then in turn leads your CPD, as Jude has just said, so that you can actually achieve your PDP and your CPD goals. It's all about 3-letter and acronyms today, CPD and PDP. So your action plan should then be SMART, and both your goals, objectives, and your action plan should be personal to you. It's not about business goals. For example, if you're working for a private consultancy, it's not about increasing your number of clients or about the fee income. And it shouldn't focus on processes and actions. For example, gaining membership to a particular institute or completing a qualification. But you can include career aspirations as long as you identify the type of work and the specific skills and knowledge required to get you there. You can also include, as Jude said, work-based learning, providing it's not your everyday job that you're putting on your PDP. So in terms of making your PDP SMART, we'll start with specific. With specific, you need to identify the specific CPD activity that you're going to undertake. For example, what reading, research, or work-based learning and training will you do? It's all about the what, why, and when. It then needs to be measurable. You need to identify your learning objectives and consider key performance indicators or ways in which you can measure that learning. It then needs to be achievable. You need to make sure that over this 2-year period, you're going to be able to achieve those goals and objectives that you've set out and those actions. And you need to make sure that you've got funding if it's going to be funded by your employer, and time taken off to undertake that activity. If you can't show that that action is going to be achievable, then you do need to put in a backup plan. And as I say, the PDP needs to cover a period of 2 years. So make sure that you can achieve that and make sure it covers the full 2 years rather than completing everything in the first 6 months. That would obviously make sure that you've got that done, but then you've got nothing to do for 18 months. So make sure that you span it right across and make sure your CPD follows that path. You need to make sure that your objections and actions are relevant, and that means relevant to your personal professional development. And it should also address the weaknesses that you've stated earlier on in your professional development plan and link them to your goals. And finally, it needs to be time-based, So specify the dates when the actions will begin and end. Don't just have open-ended actions. For example, I'll start this in January. Say you've done a PDP for this year. You don't want to say that it's going to start in January 2024 and end in January 2026. You need to have specific dates of when you're going to undertake the learning. It might be a specific event, so in which case you could put that event date on the PDP. Or if it's going to be some in-place in employment work learning, for example, it might be that you want to put that things are going to happen weekly or fortnightly, and you'll just have that check-in every couple of weeks to make sure that you're on target to achieve that. Okay. So next we're going to have a look at the SWOT analysis very quickly that I alluded to earlier. So here is where you add your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. And your weaknesses is really what is going to lead your professional development plan. So in here, we've put some ideas of what you would complete in your professional development plan SWOT analysis. But weaknesses in particular, you can look at what have you got limited experience of or limited understanding of, and you've not yet had the opportunity to learn about, or areas that are beyond your immediate expertise that you may need to be able to achieve that next job role that you're looking for, or to become more of an expert in a particular area of planning so that you can be a leader on those types of planning applications. Okay, then we're going to move on to the next screen, which is giving you some example goals and objectives and some actions. So in here, we've just put very quickly at the top, you've got goal, your long-term strategic statement, for example, the level you'll be working at, the type of work you'll do, and the area you're working in, the objective development area to help you achieve your goal, and then what your actions are going to be in order to achieve those. So this plan, as we've said, should be personal to your professional development. And it could be very different to a plan that you put together as a workplace appraisal, which indeed in the past I've had to do as well. In my jobs at work, I would have an appraisal that was set out for the next 12 months that was specifically about my job role and what I was going to achieve for my employer. And that's very different to what you want to personally achieve in your professional development plan. The plan can also relate to professional development that would help you to change your jobs, or, as I've said, to achieve a specialism within planning. When preparing your PDP, you should choose between 1 to 3 goals that are long-term overarching strategic statements of where you'd like to be in a couple of years' time. If it's related to a promotion at work, for example, your plan could perhaps cover the professional development, including knowledge and skills that you need to be working at that level. But actions like updating your CV wouldn't be a part of that. So I'm just going to give you a couple of examples. The one that I've chosen is if you wanted to develop a specific specialism. So I've chosen one that is quite relevant here in the UK. We have lots of old buildings and conservation areas which means that buildings and areas are protected, and they have much stronger planning policies so that the buildings and areas aren't destroyed by new development, basically. So an example of the goal could be that you want to increase specific technical planning knowledge in relation to heritage to improve your ability to review a wider range of planning applications. And then for that goal, you would then need 2 to 4 objectives, which are sub-goals that you can see as stepping stones on the way to achieving your overarching goal. An example could include focus on protected buildings and heritage learning to understand applications and the impact of development on heritage assets. So that would then enable you to break down that first goal into smaller stepping stones, and then underneath that you have your actions. So for each objective, you will have 2 to 3 actions that meet the SMART model that we've just been through. And these detail the nitty-gritty of the CPD activities you're going to do to meet those goals and objectives. So for example, an action here might be attending a conference or some training specifically related to protected buildings and heritage. And I've thought here that you could read advice notes from Historic England. If anybody's interested in working in the UK, then particularly England, Historic England have many detailed advice notes and other information, research that you can use to be able to increase your knowledge on that. So finally, to wrap this section up, to give you an idea of the level of detail that's required in your PDP, if someone else was going to pick it up, they should be able to read through it and implement it straight away. So if you've achieved that detail in it, you could hand it off to one of your colleagues on the call here today, and they should be able to understand it straight away and start implementing it. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Kimmy, for that. Okay, Martine, Head of Membership at the RTPI. We work very closely with Martine, and Martine, one of Martine's great, I guess, interests is mentoring programs at the RTPI. Martine, over to you. Thanks.
Thank you, Judith. Thank you, Kimmy. Yeah, so just to follow on from what my colleagues have gone through. So really this is then just to link this to then the mentoring experience a bit more. So yeah, so just as an introduction, I'm Martine Koch. I'm the Head of Membership at the Royal Town Planning Institute, and we run our mentoring programs. So just to let you know, we currently run a mid-career mentoring program called Nurture, and we are looking to roll that out later in this year to widen that audience to offer our mentoring opportunities to a wider audience of our membership. So there'll be more to follow on that. But so just to follow on from my colleagues, the reason we've gone through the PDP is because in some of the things you've heard this morning already is around the importance of that, is because one of the main things as mentees that you'll need to be able to do is understand what is the most important thing that you want from your mentoring experience. What is it you're actually looking to get out of this experience? I think it's really important that you have that in your mind as such before you go into that experience, and that's where a SWOT analysis and a PDP really helps you to focus on understanding what that might be. And one of the reasons for that as well is what is sort of unique about the mentoring relationship is one of the key things with mentoring is that it's the mentee that drives this relationship, not the mentor, but the mentee. So the mentor is more reactive and responsive to the needs of the mentee. So it's the mentee that really needs to know what you want from this mentoring partnership before you go into it. You may not have you may not be able to say specifically where you want to be in a couple of years, but you at least need to have some understanding of where you want to get to and how a mentor can help you explore that and move forwards. So in terms of some key things about the mentoring relationship, as I've said, it's the mentee that is the driving force. It's the mentee that needs to be prepared for those sessions and be open and honest with what your goals and objectives are. And it's not necessarily for the mentor to be that person to arrange things. It's for the mentee to be doing that. So you need to be realistic. I've mentioned about what your goals and objectives are, and consider that these might change over time, maybe as your circumstances change, or dependent on your mentor's experience and knowledge as well that they may bring to this relationship. So your mentor will be sharing their experience and advice with you, but it's up to you to choose ultimately what you want to do with that, whether you want to learn from some of their experience and advice, or ultimately whether there may be some things that you ignore, some things that you take on board. So your mentor will be acting in that sort of advisor role, but not in a directive way. So it's not a directive role that your mentor will be telling you what to do. It's more about providing you with some sort of nuggets of advice and some insights from their experience to help you. So it's about how you use that advice. They're also there as a sounding board, and that's really important. So you use the mentor as that opportunity as a sounding board to make the most of their experience and advice they have. So, and they will probably be asking you some open questions to help explore things with you. And they're also there as that motivating role for you. So, you know, some of the things we found with our program, maybe at the stage in their career that the mentees are at, that it might be a lack of sort of confidence or assertiveness. And actually, you know, that's what your mentor can really be there to help you explore some of that. So in terms of being prepared for this process, so mentoring is a two-way process. And obviously that requires you to be open and proactive. So I've mentioned for the mentor, it's more of a reactive role, and your mentor can only react to the issues that you present them with and the thoughts and the thought that you've put into your PDP. So the mentors aren't mind readers as such. You'll need to have that narrative and your PDP to build on. So what it's really important to think about is, you know, looking at the PDP template that we've provided, you know, where are you now? What are your strengths and weaknesses? What are those opportunities and threats that are open to you over the coming years? You know, what are some of those barriers and challenges? And then where do you want to get to? What are your objectives? And what would you like to focus on with your mentor? So, you know, you may not be able to focus on everything within your PDP. I'd suggest you probably can't focus on everything within your PDP, but pick something that is really key for you that you would really like to focus on with them, and they can help you do that. So we'd strongly recommend that you're prepared for that first session going into that mentoring relationship, and that you have prepared your PDP in advance so that you understand what your objectives are. But as part of those sessions as well, it's really important that you set aside time for those sessions and do the thinking beforehand. One of the key things we do say to our mentees is that you only get out of this mentoring relationship what you put into it. So, you know, some mentees can join the mentoring sessions assuming that they're going to get all the answers from their mentor and it's going to be the mentor that does all the work. It's the other way around. It's the mentee that needs to do the work. You will only get out what you put in. So preparing that PDP is really important to understand what you want to do, explore with your mentor. And then after the sessions, it's really important that you reflect on what's been discussed and what's come out of some of those sessions and where you want to take that, because that's really important. So some key things there really are about putting that time in with preparing your PDP and then preparing for the sessions and reflecting on them afterwards. So hopefully that puts some of the PDP into perspective. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Martini. Thank you. And thank you, Judith and Kimi, for this introduction on the CPD. I'm sure, and the continuous professional development and the professional development plan. I'm sure that our mentees have taken a lot out of this session. We're really grateful for that. I took loads of notes as well, even though I'm a chartered planner without TPI. So this has been a very useful one. I think for our mentees, if you have any question, please put it in the chat box. And just to say that from what you've heard now, it's an opportunity to review the professional development plan that you have created earlier. So this is an opportunity to review it and see whether it's smart, as Kimi has mentioned. The question and answer would be taken by Evelyn Laley, who is the co-chair for the Mentoring and Capacity Building Committee. She has been working for months, if not over a year, on putting this together. And also she would be supported by Ama Azim, who is our co-chair for communications, and everything you've seen on publications, the publicity, the posters, Ama did them all on that. Yeah, over to you both.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Olefin, and thank you to all our speakers, really. Those have been very enlightening sessions, RTPI on the CPDs and PDPs. I mean, that was quite insightful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Judith, Kimi, and Martin. Thank you. Thank you so much. And all the speakers who've actually spoken before, we truly, truly appreciate. So myself and my colleague Gamna will be taking us through the question and answer session. So I want to open it up for anyone who wants to just ask their question. If you want to unmute and ask your question, or if you prefer typing it on the chat, this is the time. Let me just see by a show of hands, or just unmute or type on the chat if you'd like to ask a question. Are there any questions? Just trying to see the chat as well. And even as we think of the questions to any of our speakers, how do we best manage the mentor-mentee relationship? Because I think the last bit that Martin mentioned is that it's the mentee to actually drive, the conversation. So how do we maximize and just ensure that the mentor-mentee relationship is really good for the period of time of the mentorship program? I don't know, any of the speakers can respond to that. Meanwhile, as I check any questions. Simone, you're smiling broadly. Do you want to pick that?
Sorry, Ruiz here. Can I start answering with that question?
Oh, yeah, sure. Ruiz.
To be honest, I've been doing this mentor-mentee to 1 or 2 high school students here in Malaysia. And with the advancement of technology these days, messages via WhatsApp is sufficient, because it's just, as I said, the mentor-mentee program is just a person that you want to just talk to, share, or get opinions for that matter. So yes, but you need, as a mentee, you need to initiate. It's just like being in a university. I don't think lecturers, well, I used to teach as well, but I don't think, I'm not saying lecturers wouldn't be bothered, but I think, you're an adult, so you should initiate of at least say hi and update and get opinions or what have you. So that, and we do need to write letters like 30, 40 years ago. So start with that, and I think that will do the trick. If need be, you can do FaceTime or Zoom meetings, I hope that helps.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Nick. Is there anyone who wants to still comment on the same question before we go to the next speakers? All right. So I have a direct question. This is directed to the RTPI team, Judith, Kimi, and Martin. I need to get a clarification. Is there a number of CPD events that I need to complete within these 2 years of our PDP? That's a question on the number of CPDs that need to be completed within the 2-year duration of the PDP.
Thanks for your question. Good question. It's not about the number of activities, it's about the number of hours. So you need to complete 50 hours of CPD over a 2-year period, which equates to roughly, not quite obviously, but about 30 minutes per week. So that could be during your lunch break, reading the planner or another planning magazine, looking at the planning decision section in the magazine, looking at potentially web content, or it could be, yes, attending a CPD event, a masterclass, or whatever it happens to be. What the CPD is actually composed of depends on what is in your PDP. But the main requirement from the RTPI side is that it's 50 hours over a 2-year period. Does that answer your question? Is that helpful?
I think that's clear, really. Yeah, thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Amna, do you want to pick the next one? Oh yeah, the person who asked the question has confirmed that that's helpful. Thank you so much. There's a question on the chat. Oh yeah, there's another question. Is RTPI open for South African planners to join and develop the PDP? I don't know, any member of the team can just shed light on that, and I think I'd also want Olafin to also respond to that in light of the current mentorship program. Yeah. Judith, you're on mute.
I'm happy to. Oh, sorry. Yes, apologies. I'm happy to answer that. Sorry, I was looking at the question in the chat, but I think, and I saw the one at the bottom about the licentiate member, but I think it's the South African planners. Yes, so just to clarify, yes, the RTPI is open to planners around the world. It doesn't matter where your experience and or qualifications are from. We are open to members from anywhere around the world. So absolutely, if you're a South African planner, you can absolutely join the RTPI and then look at your PDP. That's no problem. I mean, there's no further details on there about any of your experience or education or qualifications, etc. But we're happy to. Any specific questions about RTPI membership, I can put it in the chat. We have an email address, membership@rtpi.org.uk, and I'll put that in the chat. Please direct any specific questions. I mean, I'm happy to answer questions now, but if there's specific questions about your experience or which route or class is right for you, then I'm happy to answer any of that if you email our membership team. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Olafin, I'd just like you to shed some light on that in regards to the current mentorship program.
Yeah, I think the professional development plan, the way that the RTPI has explained it is very clear. And one of the things, the reason why we have our member institutes providing this practical training session, we've called it, it's for our mentees to be able to understand about how to learn more from this. So like Martin said, there is the opportunity, if you would like to join that, to really to learn more about that. And the professional development plan we've shared with you, but they are still available. I think there are it's available on the RTPI website, and there are some videos about it as well. If you want to know more, there are still some videos available on the RTPI website to learn more about how to develop this further. And if you then specifically want to know about developing this for the mentoring session, for the mentoring program, what I would recommend, based on the conversations we've had with some of our mentees, is when you develop it, you can go and watch the video again. The video of this session will be made available on YouTube. Watch it again. If you have any questions, you can, I think it was Kimi that said, or Judy that said, would your colleague, I'm not sure, one of the RTPI representatives said, would an attendee, another attendee here, understand exactly what you've put in your PDP? Would they be able to understand it? And that's it. So it's possibly good for you to also ask other people around you if they understand it. But there is help. You can email CAP and you can email the RTPI for support additionally. But we would say, first of all, make use of the resources available.
Thank you so much. I think we have quite a number of questions on the CPD and the PDP, which is a good thing, because I think this is really important and forms the foundation for the mentorship program. There's one more question, actually two. Do we need to maintain a diary or some written document about what the CPD tasks are, and do we need to continue CPD tasks for the 2 years while updating this to our mentor? That's one. Members of RTPI. Let me just read the next one, then you can at least respond to both. There's another one. Just a second. So someone else is asking that they are a licentiate member of RTPI and their membership ends in 2024 December, and they're not working in a planning department at the moment. What happens after December 2024? Yes. You could respond to this.
Martine, are you able
I'm happy to.
that one? Thank you.
Yes, Judith, thank you. Yeah, I'm happy to answer that. I was trying to actually reply to the message in the chat, but we've got there quicker. So just to explain that that's absolutely fine, that you're not necessarily in a planning role yet. So you can stay as a licentiate member until you actually gain enough experience to then planning experience to apply for chartered membership. So you don't need to move class after the end of this year if you're still not in a planning role. You can remain in the licentiate class until you do gain enough experience. If you have any more detailed questions around that, I'm happy to take that offline, but that's the general message now. Okay.
Great, thank you. Judith, you needed to speak.
I'm so sorry, I missed your very first question. I couldn't hear what the question actually was. Are you able to repeat it, please?
Yeah, sure, I can. So the question is about, person asking was whether they need to maintain a diary or some written document of the CPD tasks over the 2-year period and then keep an update of the same to their mentor.
I think the short answer to that is yes. Certainly from the perspective of the RTPI, if you were a member, we didn't go in today about how we monitor our members' CPD to make sure that people are complying with our code of professional conduct. We do undertake a sort of randomised spot check is the wrong expression, but check on member records. And one of the aspects of that is using the online logging facility for members to record their CPD so that we can see not only their professional development plan, but also the CPD they have undertaken to fulfill the aspirations, the goals, objectives in that professional development plan. So the short answer is yes.
Great, thank you so much. I don't think I'm seeing any other questions on the chat. Let me just give it a second look, but I don't seem to see any other questions. All right, I think I'm not seeing any other questions. Amna, are there any other questions or anything from your end?
I think we're done with the question. We'll just leave on the speakers for their final remarks.
Sure, please take it up.
Yeah. So I'd like the speakers and even a few, any final remarks for the session so we can just end it.
I have no further remarks other than just to say many thanks indeed for the opportunity, the welcome. It's really an inspiring programme and great to join together with you and with our sister institutes around the world to deliver on this. So thank you and best wishes with everything.
Thank you so much, Judith. Thank you everyone for joining us. I think let's end the session. All of you, if you have anything to add, you can, and then let's wind it up. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you. I think before we go, we would still get the remarks from all the speakers, the final remark from all the speakers before we go. And I would say, yeah, someone asked a question about the map. So you would get an email before the end of the month. And we are expecting that you would use this 1 week before the 1st of June to improve on your professional development plan and know how you would take the mentoring further. So you would get the email from us before the 31st of May, and we're expecting that your mentoring would start from the 1st of June. And Evelyn would provide more, but I think probably after the remarks from our speakers, there will be further information on next steps.
Right. You can have your final remarks. Is Kimi still here? All right, Professor Hope.
Yes, thank you very much, colleagues. Don't have much to say, but just to say I'm sitting here, I was looking at the participants, and I'm very keen about the inclusivity and how we are inclusive in our approach. And I could see that, and I was very excited about it, to say well done to the organizers for being very inclusive. And also colleagues, the presentation about the CPD and the work plan, how you design it, the program. I think it was very enlightening for all of us. And I just want to say, let's keep up good work across the globe and just make this profession, we're connected. I always say that our profession by very nature, it keeps on connecting all of us wherever you are, you like it or not. And this is another way. It's very interesting to see how automatically, based on whatever you're doing, there's always this line of connection. And let's keep it up, colleagues. And yeah, thank you so much for having me as well.
Thank you, Professor Hopes.
Now it turns to me.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you very much to the organizer for this type of event, and should continue this one for the young planners. And thank you especially Professor Judith and Kimi for the nice presentation regarding CPD and PDP. I think it will help our planners, especially young planners. And for the mentees, they should continue and attend this type of events. And I think for mentorship, they should come forward to keep contact if you like something about that, for any certain knowledge and any ideas and innovation to the mentors. And we are happy to share our knowledge and everything to our learners. Thank you very much. That's all from my end. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Simon. Nick?
I have nothing much to say, but all my advice is do take advantage of this platform. It's one of a kind, it's globally connected. You'll never get this internally in your own country, and it's worth sharing. So take full advantage of this CAT Mentor Mentee program. And I wish you all the very best of luck and hope to see all of you somehow, some way, physically, hopefully in Malaysia.
Thank you so much, Nick. Kimi, you can go next.
Thanks, everyone. I wish you lots of luck with your journeys in your careers. Planning is a great career to be involved in. I started many, many years ago, and I've been involved in local government here, and I've worked abroad, and I've got friends all across the world who are planners as well. So this forum is absolutely fantastic for learning from each other, depend on each other, do peer reviews with each other, ask questions to each other, just share information, share experiences. It's the best way to learn is from each other. It really is. You'll all have lots of different knowledge about different things from different countries. But at the end of the day, it's all planning, and we can all draw on those experiences, and then we can implement those in our own countries or whichever country it is you go to work in. So it's a fantastic opportunity. Thank you for having me here today.
Thank you so much, Kimi and Martin.
Thank you. Yes, I was just going to say, yeah, my closing remark is what's repeating is the most of this opportunity that you have, and just to remember that you'll get out of it what you put into it. So I think that's a really important thing to remember. So, and yes, thank you very much for having us.
Great, thank you. I think that covers it for the speakers. Just to mention again, we will be communicating the mentoring pairs, the mentors and mentees by the 31st of May, and the mentoring program is expected to start on the 1st of June. We'll also be sharing the mentoring and mentor and mentees handbook with each of our mentors and mentees, which provides a guideline in terms of what mentorship program is all about. And just to mention, we'll also be having monthly trainings or sessions facilitated by different institutes. We're so grateful for RTPI for helping us with this session. We'll be having different institutes facilitating the monthly session. So we're looking forward to helping you realize your mentorship journey and grow as planners. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Over to you, Lafine, for the last comment.
Thank you, Evelyn. I just want to say a very big thank you to all the members of the team, and thank you to all our speakers. Thank you to all the member institutes, the CAP member institutes, RTPI, MIP, SAC Plan, BIP, so many initials, so many abbreviations that's planning. But thank you to everyone, including CIP as well. We are planning, the next one would be on the 28th of June. And the one after that would be in July, and it would also be with ISOCAP, which is the International Society of City and Regional Planners. So we're going across board, working with all the planning institutes, both within the Commonwealth and outside of the Commonwealth. And I just want to say, as all our speakers have said, maximize this opportunity, make the best use of this opportunity. At the first cohort, we had a mentee from Canada that had the opportunity to observe planning sessions and different board meetings in Malaysia. That wouldn't have happened anywhere else. And they had that opportunity to develop their skills. So I'd say maximize this opportunity. It's a cross-border, cross-country opportunity. And this is the first one. And we haven't heard of another one. So maximize it, make the best use of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.